So Simplicity 1460 was a pattern that I found online a while back. It's been out for a couple years, and I've seen it online randomly. When Joann's fabric store actually had a Simplicity sale, I was actually able to buy this one because it had been on my list for a really long time. So my favorite thing about the fabric is actually how much it reminds me of Liberty of London. That's actually the whole reason that I gravitated towards it in the fabric store when I was picking it out. This blouse was actually a lot of fun to make because it did combine a lot of the basic skills that you learn when you're sewing with a little bit of advanced pattern drafting. Having read a lot of reviews about sewing this blouse online, I kind of knew going into it that it would have a lot of ease in the measurements. So I knew to take measurements on the pattern pieces themselves versus what was indicated on the Simplicity directions. Instead of doing a full bust adjustment across the front, I instead decided to start to play with the placket and the entire front section, and decided to change the center front a little bit. I think it definitely helped because I was able to keep the proportions in the shoulders, and the shape in the bust area didn't change, which actually worked out for me very well. It was nice to be able to just do a simple slash and spread. In terms of notions, it was a set of simple square buttons that I've had in my stash for a while that I was actually able to pick up from Britex Fabrics. I ended up doing a combination of hand sewn buttonholes and machine buttonholes because my machine was having issues. So the buttonholes are a little bit wonky, but luckily the fabric kind of disguises any sort of imperfections that are there. For anyone sewing this blouse in the future, I definitely recommend having your tape measure and or a ruler handy, because you do want to make sure to take the correct measurements of the pattern pieces versus the measurements that are on the envelope. Go ahead and tape up the darts, tape the seams together, and take measurements that way and figure out how you want those proportions to look on you, because the garment itself straight out of the packet does come with a huge amount of ease. You don't want to sew it up and then realize that it looks like a sack. Take the time. It does take a little bit of effort at the very beginning, but it really pays off in the end. I've seen some variations online of people making this into a full dress from the Peplum attachment, which I think sounds great. Just make sure that you know ahead of time how to extend the Peplum pieces before you cut into your real fabric. So the most challenging part for this particular project was actually the buttonholes, because I was having a lot of challenges with my sewing machine that I have not taken in for a tune-up in the entire time I've owned it, which I know is definitely something that is recommended, to take your machine in at least once a year to get tuned up. But so that started to cause issues with the buttonholes. But in terms of the construction of the garment itself, I have to say a lot of the techniques used are pretty straightforward. If you consider yourself like an advanced beginner or an intermediate seamstress, it'll be quick. So I think I was able to finish this up in 4 hours. It's really not that difficult. As long as you take your time around the scallops, you take your time around the facing, it really looks nice. So my favorite thing about sewing this garment was actually the darts, because darts can, come in so many different ways, but this one in particular had a double French dart on the front bodice, which was a different look than I am used to in a lot of those things that I've sewn. So it was kind of cool to see how much more demure and how much more toned down that dart, that which would normally be at the bust, came out. I was really glad to get started working on it though, because I'm doing the Colette wardrobe architect right now, and I realized that I really need to incorporate more blouses into my wardrobe. And so after doing a huge spring cleanings in my closet, I just went ahead and started sewing up some tops. Wearing this type of blouse actually makes me feel very happy, very feminine. I do have a very short distance between my bust point and waist, so wearing tops like this actually make me feel a little bit more confident, because it creates this illusion of larger hips, which it distracts a little bit from the short distance around the waist. I actually really like wearing this sort of blouse in general. It doesn't make me feel self-conscious. The colors on this blouse are fun. They're a little bit flirty. They kind of remind me of cherry blossoms and kind of the very beginning of spring, right when the smaller flowers start to bloom. I really like how happy it is, because I really want to be able to wear peplum blouses with jeans and with plain black trousers. So having something crazy busy on the top with a more pared down jean on the bottom, like a dark denim or a pair of black trousers, I think would really balance it out and make the blouse pop a little bit more.